Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to News Dosing. Well, it's Monday yet again, so we're going to get into some more gaming news for today. Hopefully that brightens up your Monday just a little bit. But, yeah, we got some big PlayStation news today, we got some Nintendo news, and, well, we got some more Xbox news as well. So we're going to be covering all three platforms today. Now, on the PlayStation side of things, they actually went ahead and made a complete 180 on that Horizon Forbidden West upgrade path decision that they made last week. So we're going to talk about that and the PlayStation Showcase because it sounds like that's absolutely going to be worth tuning into. Now, we also got a big game leak to talk about for the Xbox Series and the PlayStation 5, and it looks like an exciting game will be planned to release later this year, and this is also a really good sign for the future of a game that fans have been asking for a sequel for, years and years now, so we will go over all of that as well, plus plenty more per usual. In fact, let's just go and start today off with that PlayStation Now September lineup. Yes, they did announce some new PlayStation Now games for the month of September, so let's just go and check it out. You have Tekken 7, Killing Floor 2, Final Fantasy 7, Windbound, Pathfinder Kingmaker, Definitive Edition, and then Moonlighter. And you know what? When you look at this list, it's actually a pretty decent lineup. I do think that there's several good games here, especially with Tekken 7, Final Fantasy 7, and then Moonlighter. Right away, I will say that Moonlighter is probably one of the better independent games available right now. It's got a very attractive art style and an insanely fun gameplay loop. And then obviously with Final Fantasy 7, this is one of the all-time classic JRPGs. If for whatever reason you haven't played this game already, you definitely need to check it out if you have PlayStation Now. And this is something that you might as well go and prepare for because they are going to be releasing several Final Fantasy games into PlayStation Now throughout the rest of 2021. The big one for this month, though, will be Tekken 7. Obviously, Tekken is a big fighting game franchise, and there's always a caveat when it comes to these PlayStation Now big releases. I kind of say this every single time, and I'm going to continue to say it because I don't like how they release their bigger games in the PlayStation Now. But yes, if you look at the fine print, Tekken 7 will only be available in PlayStation Now until February 28th. So this is yet another limited release. And I mean, I understand them doing this with some of the big games that they put into their service, but I think that they just do this a little too much. So I would like to see them try just a little bit more to get these games regularly at a 12-month interval. But nonetheless, I still do think that PlayStation Now has improved in recent years, so there is that. Moving on though, let's talk about Sonic Colors Ultimate. This, of course, is a remastered Wii game, which makes this whole situation just even more perplexing, which we'll get into here in just a moment. But this game does release tomorrow on September 7th. However, if you pre-ordered the Digital Deluxe Edition, you're actually able to start playing this game last week. And yeah, that sounds cool and everything, until you figured out that this game is just absolutely broken. Yeah, this is an unfortunate situation, especially considering I know there's been a lot of fans really looking forward to this release. Sonic Colors is one of the better Sonic games available, and the fact that it is finally going multi-platform, that's really good news for a lot of fans out there. Unfortunately, though, it does look like this remaster launched with several issues and glitches, especially on the Nintendo Switch. Fans have been taking to social media to share some of the problems that they've had with this game. I mean, and it does look really bad. I mean, some of the graphical issues here are so bad that they have to include warnings for seizures. It really is that bad, and, you know, the issues don't stop there. There's footage out there of players falling through scenery, there's soft locks, crashes, and plenty more. This game has gotten off to a very rough start, especially, again, on the Nintendo Switch. Now, I'm not hearing as many issues on the PlayStation and Xbox side of things, but, you know, this really is unacceptable, especially considering that this game did launch on the Wii years ago. There's really no reason for the Nintendo Switch to perform this bad, and in fact, one of the things that a fan shared was the load times for each version of the game, and you notice that the Wii version actually loads significantly faster than the Switch. Yeah, something doesn't quite add up there, and I do understand fans' frustration when it comes to this specific release, and Now, I have heard, and now I don't know how factual this is, but some people have claimed that they did get a refund on this game by talking to Nintendo, and because the issues are so bad, they have actually given out some refunds to some fans out there. So if you are having major issues, that is something to kind of keep in mind. You can try it, no guarantee there, but the silver lining here is that the developer did respond by saying that they are working to fix some of the issues with Sonic Colors Ultimate. Hopefully, that happens sooner rather than later because we really don't need another Cyberpunk situation. Let's go ahead and talk about PlayStation, though, because we do have a few different topics here, including that reverse decision for Horizon Forbidden West. Now, you're probably well aware of this, but last week, PlayStation found themselves in just a bit of controversy after they announced the pre-orders for Horizon Forbidden West. And while this is a very exciting game, it looks really good. The first game was also an excellent game. Yeah, the problem wasn't with the game itself, but the pricing and then that upgrade path from the PlayStation 4 to the PlayStation 5. In fact, there was no upgrade path. If you decided to buy the PlayStation 4 version for $60 and then you bought the PlayStation 5 later, well, then you're just out of luck because you're not going to be able to upgrade that version. Instead, what you'd have to do is buy the $80 special edition version, which include quote-unquote dual entitlement. Yeah, this was apparently the only way to get both the PlayStation 4 version and the PlayStation 5 because they didn't have an upgrade path. It was absolutely ridiculous. And well, you know what? Fans let them hear about it. Fans were not happy about this at all, nor should they have been. Now, there were some fans defending it, and I'm not gonna talk about those fans today. We know who you are, but was not a good decision on PlayStation part, and it never will be. The good news, though, is that Sony listened. And yeah, let's just go and check out what they had to say. Thursday was to be a celebration of Horizon Forbidden West and the amazing team at Guerrilla working to deliver it on February 18th, 2022. However, it's abundantly clear that the offerings we confirmed in our pre-order kickoff missed the mark. Last year, we made a commitment to deliver free upgrades for our cross-gen launch titles, which included Horizon Forbidden West. While the pandemic's profound impact pushed Forbidden West out of the launch window we initially envisioned, we will stand by our offer. Players who purchase Horizon Forbidden West on PlayStation 4 will be able to upgrade to the PlayStation 5 version for free. I also want to confirm today that moving forward, the PlayStation first-party exclusive cross-gen titles, newly releasing on a PS4 and PS5, both digital and physical, will offer a $10 US dollar digital upgrade option from the PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 5. This will apply to the next God of War and Gran Turismo 7, and any other exclusive cross-gen PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 title published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. Now, there are a few different things that you can take from this statement, but the good one is definitely that you can now upgrade that PlayStation 4 version of Horizon Forbidden West to the PlayStation 5 completely free for that matter. That's kind of the strange part about this whole situation, though, because you do have the PlayStation 4 version, which costs $60. Now, the PlayStation 5 version costs $70, and, well, I mean, if you can just upgrade the PlayStation 4 version to the PlayStation 5 completely free, then why not just spend $10 less getting the PlayStation 4 version in the first place? Truthfully, I don't know what Sony's doing by this point. You might as well just go ahead and drop the price for the PlayStation 5 version as well. And I kind of said this last week, but I'm not a big fan of the PlayStation 5 version of games costing $10 more anyways. It's basically like paying $10 extra for PC graphical settings. I just don't think that the increase makes much sense in the first place, to be completely honest with you. Now, if they just want to come out and say that these games cost more to make now, so we need to increase the price, then fine, so be it. But basically right now what you're doing is you're taking advantage of the PlayStation 5 owners by making them pay $10 extra. I just don't really like it. I guess it is what it is. Nonetheless, I'm really glad to see Sony reverse their decision here. This reminds me a lot of what happened earlier this year with Xbox Live Gold, where they tried to double the price of that. That was ridiculous as well. So was this. I'm really happy that these companies are at least listening and they're fixing the problems that they are making. So kudos for listening at the very least. Now, this is where things starts to get really exciting because, well, we do have that PlayStation showcase that takes place later this week on September 9th. Now, we don't know too much about this event, but we do know that it's going to be about 40 minutes long, and this sounds like this could possibly be their biggest event in quite some time. So there's already some excitement building up for this PlayStation showcase, and, well, based off what David Jaffe is saying, yeah, there might actually be a reason for that after all. Now, if you don't know who David Jaffe is, he of course has worked with PlayStation in the past on games such as the Twisted Metal franchise. So he definitely has some ties with the company, and he knows people that works there, and he hears things from time to time. And the thing about that is that he does have his own YouTube channel now, and he does talk about some stuff that they do over there every once in a while. And this time, he talked about that PlayStation showcase, and yeah, let's just go and check out what he had to say. I'm not going to tell you what's going to be there. I don't know everything, but I know a handful of things, and you won't be disappointed if you are looking for kind of the traditional great first-party PlayStation. That's going to be there with flying colors, and I am so excited to see the response to it. Now, he did say he hasn't seen this stuff firsthand or anything like that, but he did later take to Twitter to say this. Here's a useless tweet, but if I don't say something, I will explode. Just found out about a new PlayStation game they are making. No idea when it gets revealed. Maybe next week, maybe not. But just know when it does, people are going to lose their minds. Now, I didn't include the explicit content that he posted here, but yeah, this is a very, very exciting tweet. And even though he doesn't flat out say what this game is, again, he has worked with PlayStation in the past, and he does know people that's worked in the company. He does hear things, and I mean, he's starting to hype up this PlayStation Showcase event for later this week. It's definitely sounding like there's going to be some big games there. Now, he very specifically does say that if you do like the traditional great first-party content from PlayStation, you're going to like this event. And that has me wondering which first-party companies are going to show up here. Now, of course, God of War Ragnarok is going to be the one that fans are really looking forward to. So far, we've really only seen a logo for this game, but, I mean, fans want to see what's next for the God of War franchise, especially after that 2018 version. It was just so good. So yeah, fans definitely want to see how they're going to follow that up with a sequel. And even though he doesn't say whether or not this game is going to be there or not, he did actually mention something very interesting, and that is that he's been hearing that God of War Ragnarok is shooting to be a 40-hour-long game. Now, he doesn't know if that's going to be 100% completion or average playtime, but if it is average playtime, that is significantly longer than the first game. Now, that can be a good or bad thing depending on how you look at it, but it's definitely sounding like this PlayStation Showcase on the 9th is going to be well worth it, and one of the biggest events from PlayStation in quite some time. If anything, definitely expect some first-party games to show up here, whether already announced or maybe even a few big surprises. Next up, though, we do need to talk about that big game leak, and this one is really exciting for multiple reasons. Yeah, so Alan Wake Remastered, according to the Taiwan retailer Rakuten, will soon be available on the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, and the Xbox Series on October 5th of 2021. Now, this is just a listing, but assuming that this is indeed true, and it does release on October 5th, that means that an official announcement is more than likely imminent. Now, we do have that PlayStation Showcase later this week, and it absolutely could be announced there. And in fact, I think it would make sense for Alan Wake Remastered to be announced at this event because this game was originally an Xbox 360 exclusive. The fact that this game is going to be coming to PlayStation at all, that's pretty big. So PlayStation could announce this and kind of flex a little bit by saying, hey, we finally got Alan Wake on PlayStation after all of these years. So I do think that it would make sense to announce it at the PlayStation event. What I'm really interested to see, though, is that if this is indeed true and that this game will be announced soon and comes out this year, I want to see how much of an improvement they've made visually to this Alan Wake remaster? Is it just going to be a simple remaster, or did they put a lot more work into it to really make it feel like more of a modern experience? Because I think from the story side of things, I think Alan Wake has aged very well. Honestly, I would say Alan Wake is one of my favorite Xbox 360 games because it really does have a very gripping story. And it did look really good for its time, for that matter. But I think if they really put a lot of time and attention into a remaster, this game could really blow some people away now, because I'm hoping after all these years that people finally recognize just how good this game truly is. And that's kind of the other exciting part about this announcement, because if you remember right, Remedy Entertainment actually acquired the Alan Wake IP from Microsoft just a couple years ago. So it's very obvious that they are doing something with this franchise. And this remaster more than likely is just the first step, because I think one of the next big games, and this has leaked out in the past, one of their next big games will be an Alan Wake sequel. I think you can just kind of bank on it by this point, but it has leaked out in the past that Remedy Entertainment and Epic Games is very well possibly working on an Alan Wake sequel. So I think this just kind of adds more credibility to that happening. But yeah, I mean, if you're like me and you've been waiting for an Alan Wake sequel for, geez, what has it been, like a decade by this point? Well, this is very exciting news. Now, something else that's interesting about this specific listing is that actually this is not the first time that we've heard about an Alan Wake remastered game. As the Video Game Chronicles pointed out, we actually heard about this earlier this year because the Epic Data Tracker did discover references in the Epic Game Store database for two specific titles, being Alan Wake Remastered and then Final Fantasy VII Remake. And the reason that's interesting is because if this Alan Wake Remaster does turn out to be true, well, then there's a very good possibility that that Final Fantasy VII Remake for the Epic Game Store was also true. So who knows, we could get a big announcement for that Final Fantasy VII Remake here soon as well. Though, with that being a PC port, I wouldn't expect that one to be at the PlayStation Showcase. On to the poll of the day, though. I went ahead and asked you all, do you think we will get a reveal for God of War Ragnarok at this week's PlayStation Showcase? As I mentioned earlier, this is the game that a lot of PlayStation fans are really looking forward to, and in fact, I did ask you all last week, what PlayStation game would you most like to see gameplay of at that PlayStation September Showcase, and 59% of you did vote for God of War Ragnarok. So yeah, there's definitely some anticipation when it comes to God of War Ragnarok, and well, it looks like you all are also pretty optimistic that it will be at this week's event, because 54% of you said that yes, it will be there. Now, I really don't know if it'll be there or not, but I'm with you all here. I'm very hopeful that God of War Ragnarok will show up at this event. So far, we've only gotten that logo, but right now the expectations is that God of War Ragnarok will release sometime in 2022. And if that is the case, they could start building the hype now with a big reveal for God of War Ragnarok at this event. It doesn't necessarily have to be a big gameplay reveal per se, but they could do some kind of cinematic or just kind of set up what this game is going to be about. I think that would make a lot of people happy. Nonetheless, though, I mean, this event is definitely sounding like it's going to be well worth it, and I know I'm looking forward to it. And, you know, the good news is that we're only going to have to wait a few more days, so let's just go and cross our fingers that God of War Ragnarok will be at that event. Anyways, though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget to bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.